Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome in. My name is Bryce Koon, and we welcome you here into the crowded booth where we're talking college football nearly every single night of the week. College football season is, I guess we'll say this, we're entering the last Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, that we don't have college football on our TVs anymore. We've got, Iowa State, fellas, Kansas State, and Ireland next week. So a lot of good things coming with that, predictions, best bets, and of course, Addie's helmet picks can be brought back. Lee Corson might be out. Addie's coming back in. So we can't wait to talk about college football more. Tonight, though, is a big one. Our 12-team playoffs. Remember, there's been a shakeup in how they're doing this in terms of the top four seeds. We've got those playoff predictions in. We've got the full playoff predictions. Who's going to be the national title winner? And then last, but certainly not least, our next four teams out. We'll kind of see what it looks like. And Will Manis, Ralph Leary are here. You're watching the Crowded Booth here on a Monday evening.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.
All right, what's up, fellas? My name is Bryce Koon alongside Ralph Leary and Will Manis as we get ready to talk a little bit of college football here on a Monday evening. Fellas, I started the show off with talking about that we are, I guess, what is it? I mean, 9 days? Like 9 to 11 days away from start of college football? No, Joe. Pilot license, take it away. We are getting ready to talk about college football. Next week we'll have, I guess for the best way to put it is we got one big marquee game. Mercer Bears are playing next weekend. They are week 0 Merchant nowadays. And how are we feeling? Will, you go first. How are you feeling? College football just about here. I'm tired of debating stuff. I'm ready to see some real action.
Yeah, me too. Tired of looking at projections, tired of looking at, well, this team has this blue chip ratio and this is their 2 deep ratings.
Yeah.
This game's settled on the field. Somebody hit somebody.
If the answer isn't Cumberland School of Law at Sanford 220, that's 220 to 0 team, by the way. Fame, I don't want to hear it. I'm with you. I mean, you could see that, Ralph. We've talked a lot of college football today, just in terms of trying to go through these playoffs. You just walked into this one. Will was at a meeting, so he couldn't be a part of those conversations. But Ralph and Gavin went through a lot of our. I'm sorry, that was just right there on
a bunch of scenarios, basically.
Yeah. On a silver platter to take. Ralph, we were talking about this. This is actually pretty difficult. And I think one of the big things we've taken away is that this season is going to be exciting. We don't know a lot about what's going to happen this year in terms of there's not like a for sure thing. I think the depth of who's really good and can make this 12-team playoff might be 25 teams deep. Like there's a lot of good football and a lot of teams that could end the year with a 9-3 record and not make it in, but have a pretty dang good year.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and I was looking at scenarios, things that could happen, and you ran the generator today. I mean, you took a good hour on that, probably.
Oh my gosh! Will, did you click that link, by the way? I'm sorry to interrupt.
I did not.
Pro Football Network has this thing where you can project, you can simulate every single game and pick every single college football game this year, and it spits out what the computers say what the playoff would be off of it. The first one I did had Troy in the Sun Belt title game and had Buffalo as the G5 Merchant or G5 team, G6 team. So, I don't know. It took me about an hour, and I still didn't go with that playoff format. So, anyways, Ralph, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was looking at, setting my 12 teams, and I realized I messed it up. Had to go back and readjust it. Then I had to, explain to myself, this has to happen for this to happen to make the top 12. And then I was like, well, this doesn't even feel right. I don't like that matchup, or I don't really, and I had to, I changed mine 3 or 4 times, and I was talking to you earlier about it. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this because I can do the generator and spend an hour and still not like what I get, but later on, I feel better about it now going into it. Now, obviously, it's going to upset people. It's just a prediction, guys.
Just prediction.
Let's just relax. I asked you a question to you and Gavin earlier, and we may talk about it later. I don't know, but
yeah. Look, we're going to get into this. It's a lot of conjecture. The AP Top 25 dropped today. Let's just kick off with that. Any instant reactions from the AP Top 25? What your thoughts were on it? I'll kind of go first with this. Was it 10 SEC teams represented in that? I'm just going to go ahead and continue to stand on the platform that I've stood on. Every single rating and metric can't be biased against you. Like the whole system's not rigged against you. The one team that was surprising to me, Oklahoma. Like I kind of thought Oklahoma was going to slide into this underrated range, maybe like 23, 24, 25. They're number 18 preseason. That to me shows a lot of pressure on Brent Venables and company to produce very early on, especially that matchup against Michigan in the first couple of weeks. We got the graphic right here, so let's take a look at it. This was today. Any takeaways? Other than for me, it's Oklahoma's pretty ranked, thought of pretty highly.
For me, it's Florida. I certainly think Florida's going to be a good team. They've got a Heisman Trophy level talent at quarterback. But 15 just feels high. I mean, I don't know that they finish the season ranked, and they'll probably end up being pretty good. 7-5, 8-4, maybe 9-3. But it is a really hard schedule. They kind of stick out the most to me.
Lot hinges on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And if Lagway's not healthy, it changes the whole narrative of that season. And like I said on last week's show, it could change the narrative if Billy Napier's your head coach at the end of the year, too, if it goes really bad. Ralph, anything stand out in particular to you right now?
Mine kind of stands with kind of where Will's going here. I'm going Michigan. Obviously, better end of the season than they expected last year. Obviously, beating Ohio State and Alabama bowl game. But you're relying on a true freshman quarterback kid who got out of high school to be in a position where he gets to go play at Oklahoma week 2. And I look at this is the team that could win 9 games and miss the playoff later on, and it's just a lot that would put on a true freshman's shoulders. We've seen kids do it before, but in Michigan, it's kind of unheard of. Really, you're not used to see Michigan start true freshman quarterback very often, and then they do. Sometimes they aren't as solid the first year.
Yeah.
Another one for me is Tennessee at 24. Just so many questions with Tennessee on offense, and might be pandering, might be grifting a little bit here, but I think Georgia Tech's better than Tennessee. I really do. Especially entering the season.
More knowns,
a lot less question marks.
Yeah. Tennessee for me gets in what we always talk about, brand value. This expectation that Josh Heupel's a good offensive coordinator or a good offensive head coach. They've got some. They still have some good defense pieces, but they missed a ton. There was already a question coming in if they had Nico about could he win the games, like could he lead them to victories because they relied so much on Dylan Sampson. To me, I'm with you. I wouldn't have put Tennessee. And I'm saying this, Gavin, I don't remember if I even put Tennessee in my top 25. I don't think I did that I came out with last week. But I think Georgia Tech, I had them. If I did, I had Georgia Tech ahead of Tennessee. I think there's more knowns there.
I mean, for Tennessee, like you talk about Josh Heupel, I think his system is going to be really, really tested this year.
Oh, yeah.
His offensive system and his scheme. It's like, they make the playoff a year ago. They lose Nico. They kind of scramble at quarterback. If they're good, the system is one of, if not the best in the country.
Yeah.
Because, no disrespect to Joey Aguilar. Don't think he has the same talent level as Nico. I don't think Joey Aguilar playoff level quarterback. Certainly can prove us wrong. He hasn't been on that stage before, but entering the season, kind of confused. But I mean, I understand the reason. It's brand value. That's why Tennessee's number 24. But yeah, I think they're too high.
Well, I'm an idiot. Gavin just let me know. I put Tennessee at 21, Georgia Tech at 24. So I just contradicted what I said last week. So there you go. But I mean, Tennessee being there, let's get to a couple of these comments before we get into our own things. We're going to get to Joe's question maybe a little bit later in the show, but Andrew right here, appreciate you tuning in, says Miami at 10 is wild when they still have a bum coach and replaced an A+ quarterback with a B+ quarterback. I put this in the Discord today, and I think, Andrew, this is not me positioning for why they should be a top 10 team, but I think this is the idea, right? Their defense, has to be better. It was really bad last year. And so if, the new defensive coordinator they brought in with some of the pieces, if it's better, that offense doesn't have to be number one in the country. So if it can be a little more balanced, like if you take a little bit from the offense and you are able to say, okay, our defense is a little bit better, that balance might help them be better. Now, also, this is complete projection, right? They have brought in 2 wide receiver transfers. They got a good young sophomore wideout that they really like. Their 2 most productive backs are coming back. And look, I mean, I know a majority of our audience here is Georgia Tech fans. They love to point out the fact that Carson Beck had 12 interceptions, led the SEC in that last year. He's still a really good quarterback. I'm not going to say he's great. He's more than capable.
I'm going to.
Okay, well, I'll say he's a really good quarterback. He's more than capable of having this to be a top 15 team in the country. So 10, I can see that, but man, there's so much projection and all of these teams have question marks. I can understand the argument for why they put them at 10.
Miami has too much talent. I mean, this is what a preseason poll is. You're basically looking at the talent level of these teams. And Andrew, I just really disagree with you. I think they replaced a B-plus quarterback with an A-plus quarterback. I think Carson Beck is, it's going to be an easy award for him to win. Would be ACC newcomer of the year. I don't think he'll be the best player. I don't think he'll be the best quarterback at the end of the year. I think that'll go to Cade Klubnik, but he's in a much better situation. He's got much more talent around him. I mean, we've seen 2-3 years ago at Georgia just how good he was. Last year at Georgia is the worst offense I think Georgia has put on the field in a decade.
We got there.
Yeah. And, you can't put all the blame on the quarterback, but, that comes with the territory. If the offense is bad, well, the quarterback must be bad. I don't think that was the case. There's too much talent on Miami. That's why they're at number 10. Their talent level is top 10 nationally. Now, whether Mario Cristobal can get over the hump and win big games and get to Charlotte, I think would be over the hump for them at this point. It obviously remains to be seen.
Yeah. Ralph, any other kind of things that you look at this and you're interested in?
I mean, I told you earlier, there's a lot of teams on this list that have first-year starting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Being number one right there, number 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a crazy. Think about it, all these teams are really, really good surrounding their quarterback, but it all depends on this quarterback play. And I know, and we talked about like earlier. Arch Manning doesn't have to be 100% of the best quarterback. He just has to be good enough for the guys around them to succeed. And there's a lot of people like that in this country, and especially in this top 25. So, and there's teams on the outside of the top 25 that I think they're the same way that could sneak in the next few weeks if the quarterback play is good.
Yeah,
and it's just like I said about Michigan. It just all depends on what Bryce Underwood can do this year. Texas same way. I mean, you think about the teams that have returning quarterbacks this year. It's not a very long list of teams that were in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I mean, returning quarterbacks.
Drew Aller is the only.
It's your number 2 team, number 4 team, number 9 team, 11, 12, 13.
You can say 10 because Beck technically played last year.
Yeah.
And you got, and then Illinois, South Carolina all have returning quarterback. Lagley played a little bit last year. Kevin Jennings, Avery Johnson, John Mateer played in different conferences last year. There's a lot of different, quarterbacks, new systems, and new teams, new conferences. So there's big question marks with that going forward. So
Corey Heatherman, new DC down there in Coral Gables, led a Minnesota defense in 2024 that was 5th in total defense and 10th in points allowed per game. And Andrew does say talent has never been the issue. I think that's the hope that I think for people when they look at Miami, it's like, okay, you brought in a guy that did pretty well with I don't want to disrespect Minnesota, but not elite talent, but he had a good scheme there. Now you're heading, to the ACC. You're heading where you're going to have more talent. Can you do that? This year. That'll be something that's interesting.
They got Travis Hunter Jr. up there at Coy Parish. Okay, y'all just be on the lookout.
I saw that kid, by the way, real quick, in San Antonio 2 years ago. The player of that All-American Bowl. That kid is unfreaking.
He was the best player in Minnesota for a reason. I know that's not saying much, but he
was. No, he's good. He's legit. We're gonna say, Will.
Not to rain on Gavin's stat because it's a great stat and numbers never lie, but
they don't tell the whole story, Will.
They don't tell the whole story. Go look at Minnesota's schedule. Like I'm just saying. Also, the Carson Beck versus Cam Ward stuff. I'm gonna do what we love to do and cherry pick some stats. Carson Beck career completion percentage 68%. Cam Ward 66%. Career quarterback rating: Cam Ward 148.8, Carson Beck 156.4. Remember back 2023. That the 2023 Georgia offense should, if it's not already, go down as one of, if not the best offense in Georgia history. Led by Carson Beck, led the SEC in completions and attempts, 302 for 417, 72% completion percentage, which is ridiculous. Led the SEC in passing yards, 3,941, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's what Carson Beck can be, and I think we'll see more of that in what is a loaded Miami offense in a league where the average defense is not going to be as good as what he's used to seeing or he has seen previously at Georgia. Week in and week out, there will be games where he's playing top
Notre Dame
20, 30 defenses.
Yeah.
Yep. But, he's going to play some bad defenses too.
Little foreshadowing. We're going to get to see him in person this year.
We will.
Maybe at least once. Could we see him
against a good defense?
Yes, that is true. Jonesy says, don't sleep on Indiana. Mendoza leading the way, Will, and Auburn Tigers know what he can do.
Yep, Auburn should have targeted Fernando Mendoza in the portal.
Yeah, that's
I think I said that true. Last December.
Dr. Bob says, look out for A&M at 19, feels low with Elko. I had A&M in my rankings, and someone said, is it a federal law to rank A&M every single year? And I thought that was pretty funny. But
it was good.
I mean, look, what do they call them? Texas 8-4? That's like what the joke is now. I mean, I think I am projecting them.
I mean, they found a way to lose to Auburn last year. I mean, they really did.
Yeah.
They let Auburn get a lead. They came back and they found a way to lose.
Yeah.
That's kind of who Texas A&M is. They find ways to lose.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Time for what to talk about Auburn. 17 minutes and 39 seconds. You love to see it. No, but
that wasn't me this time.
That was Gavin. He's on his P's and Q's tonight. No, I think just kind of outside of this, Oklahoma being at 18 is interesting to me. What this does do, now let's remember this, and we've had this conversation from the time the playoff was announced last December to now, really.
Bingo, Maxwell.
They're just 8-4. You write 8-4. By the way, real quick, I know these three guys. I know Gavin's too young for this, and Ralph lives here, so B Merrills in Columbus. # not an ad. But do y'all remember the little pocket schedules they used to give? That was like little books, and it had all the high school schedules, and then it had the college ones. You could go in there and write down. God, first off, I wish we could get those back. Second, you could just go ahead and scribble an 8-4 for A&M, and you're probably going to make some money off of that, good wise. No, I think we also have to remember this, kind of my last point on the AP Top 25. Until that first playoff ranking comes out, this is how narratives are starting to build, right? And so you start to kind of look at some things. They're obviously posturing, whether you agree with it or not, that the SEC has some pretty good depth. That's one thing I take away from it. Council meeting at B Merrills this Thursday for the mayor right there. New location, by the way. But we should do a live show from there. That'd be awesome. Anyways,
that would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
No, I will, Bryce, to your point.
Go ahead.
Vividly remember, and might possibly always remember this, thinking about college football. It was 2017, I believe. Colin Cowherd on his show had Joel Klatt on to react to the college football playoff rankings. And he asked him if he had issues with him, and I remember this because he called out Auburn specifically. I think was ranked 11th or 12th. I think it was the first edition of the playoff rankings that year. And he had issue with it because Auburn was ranked so high, helping prop up Clemson because Clemson beat Auburn in week 1 that year. So, I mean, to your point, this preseason, and Clemson was ranked high to start the year. So, in the preseason AP poll. So, I mean, we've seen it before. We'll see it forever. This is how the narratives start.
Yeah.
You can look at this top 25 and probably half or at least 10 of this 25 will be in the playoff.
Yeah. I'll end it with this, and Ralph, you can give some thoughts if you have any more on this. One of my takes, when I saw this, and I said this on our On Three Bengal Tiger board over at LSU today, the winner of LSU Clemson, if Clemson wins, they're going to jump to number 1 in the country, I think. If LSU wins, they're going to be a top 5 team in the country. I think that just when we look at that early schedule, Georgia playing Marshall to start off the season, I could see them fall back just because of the lack of the quality opponent. Notre Dame has a shot, obviously, with playing that Notre Dame-Miami game's week 1, right?
Are you saying that if Clemson wins, they'll jump the winner of Ohio State, Texas? Because it's also week 1.
I think so, if they win convincingly enough, because I think Texas, Ohio State, maybe
it's got to be convincing.
It's got to. If Clemson goes in there and wins by 14 plus, yeah, I think they could, and it'd be like Clemson, Texas, and the votes would be minuscule. It is what it is. So, I don't know. Preseason top 25.
I think that Texas is ranked too high. We'll see that in my top 12, but we'll see.
Penn State, a lot of people question them. They revamped that wide receiving core. Really just comes to you believe Drew Rattler can do the job. So, which I think a lot of
believe James Franklin can get over the hump. That's another one. I guess he got over the hump last year, but he still has not won the Big Ten.
So, does that matter as much anymore in a 12-team playoff?
No.
Genuine question, does it? I don't know.
It doesn't. Everything is optics and resume.
I'd almost rather just not play in the game, to be honest with you.
At this point, yeah.
And if you go to 16 teams, it's like, well, what does it even matter now to even win the SEC? Yeah, you'd like a bye, but I don't want to have to play. Is the bye, here's a crazy take, is the bye worth?
Don't say that M word that we put in front of bowl games. Don't say the M word, because the conference title game is not the M word.
No, I'm not saying that. But is the bye game worth having to play in the title game? SEC title, the conference title game.
It wasn't last year. None of the teams who had bye weeks won, did they? Right.
Ohio State, I don't remember.
They had to play.
They hosted Tennessee.
Home. So
and here we go.
He said the M word. Yeah, you're forever on a list somewhere.
The M word.
Speaking of, we got 120 plus people watching live right now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Speaking of, by the way, issues. I was at a big superstore yesterday, for people who don't know. And my wife, who is most likely one of the most naive, sweetest people you ever meet in your life, and I mean that, Ralph can attest to this,
there isn't many people who are nicer than his wife.
It's she just is a very sweet person. Got accused.
My mind has never been in the gutter.
Very true.
There's a difference. Ralph. There's a difference.
I thought there's a difference. In my mind, you're talking about yourself for a second. I was like, that's a lie.
Anyways, long story short, I almost had a full-out race war in the middle of Sam's. So I don't know what in the world that will happen. No, I'm seriously.
Don't keep coming at me, and Bryce is the one getting in fights.
I just said if the lady figured out my name, my life was over. So that's all I said. No, seriously, it was unbelievable. I don't care what race or what political aisle you stand on. This young woman lost her mind and started yelling at my wife. And the best part about it is I asked her husband what the issue was, and he wasn't even sure. He was just I don't even know. And so then we got recorded. We might be on a Facebook Live group page or something. I have no clue. It was absolutely insane. So crazy stuff. But you know what's not insane? This time of the year, still warm all across the Bible Belt. Check out our friends at All Natural Bug Spray that really works. It's all natural BS. Listen, if you don't want to be dealing with the BS that happens in Sam's or the BS that happens on your back porch, make sure that you spray yourself down with some all natural BS. It's bug spray that really works, and it's chemical free. Use code TCB15 to get 15% off your order today. You're going to need it all fall. Look, we all live in the South. We all know that this is that time of the year you get bugs. They're trying to get inside your house. It's terrible. Whether you live in South Louisiana, where you live in Columbus, you might even live off Victory Drive. You need to get yourself some all natural big bug spray and make sure you check it out. And that's kind of where we said, hey, they're not a sponsor. All Natural Bug Spray is, but I did tell Hillary, my wife, I said, I'm about this close to going and getting a Costco membership. So Yeah, I am. I had a sprint
Highly recommend.
before we got down here because we didn't have Costco in Columbus, and we just used it. So it is what it is. Okay, I love Gavin's idea that he just put in the chat. So let's do it.
Oh.
The first wrong graphic. The first four out. The next four out. However you want to look at it. Here are our first four teams out of the playoff. I am going to, I guess I'll kind of start with this, okay? I've got Georgia Tech, Texas A&M, Miami, and Arizona State. Those are my four teams out. I wanted to kind of start off with Georgia Tech in this sense. And guys, we talked about this, and Will and Ralph and Gavin and I really we debated for about 40 minutes on this kind of stuff, by the way. Like, we really deliberated on this. As the Crowded Booth Playoff Committee, we could not in good faith, and I think we're all in agreement here, put what I had projected to be a 9-3 team, but make it to the conference title game, which I still need to check the tiebreakers, but I think Georgia Tech would make it over SMU in that sense. I could not in good faith put a 9-4 team, because I had them losing to Clemson, into the college football playoff. I think it would set a precedent for sure, right? Like, it would definitely set a precedent. But Georgia Tech at 9-4 was really pushing it for me, because then it would become, where's the quality win? You would need Colorado to be really good. And remember, in my projection, I had Duke as a loss, Clemson as a loss, and Georgia as a loss. And if you lost to Clemson again, it's like, where is the next best win compared to some of these other at-large teams? So I wanted to put them in. I don't have them in the playoff, but I've got them sitting as probably one of the highest-ranked four-loss teams in the country. And I pray to God they're playing in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, because that'd be freaking amazing to watch Brent Key interact with a grown-up stuffed Pop-Tart. So that's where I have them currently. I got A&M there. I think they just missed out. Miami, I think, will be kind of this weird 2-3 loss team that just, I don't think they get over. And then Arizona State, they lost Scatterbo, right? Like, I get that. They still have a good team. I just don't. That Big 12's weird and wacky. And I think it's, you make more money, and you can clip this and we can look at the end of the year. You might make some money by picking a different team each and every single year to win the Big 12, because it's so crazy. So that's my four teams right there. Ralph, talk about your four teams, wherever you want to take it.
Yeah. So I had to kind of really look around at everyone's schedule to see how everything plays out. I put A&M there. Like, I'm gonna say with Bryce, I think A&M's got a schedule where they can win 9 games, but just miss out of that top 12. Miami the same way. Miami I think they'll have 2 losses. I think they lose to Notre Dame. Or I'm sorry, 3 losses. I got them losing to Notre Dame, SMU, and Louisville this season. And that was just that 3 losses would not put them in the playoffs. Baylor, I think Baylor's got a good enough chance to make a run for it, but I think they lose one big game in about midway through the season or toward the end of the year in a conference game they should have won. That would put them in the conference championship game, which they'll miss out on. And Michigan's schedule is simple after Oklahoma. I mean, until they play Ohio State, they really don't play anybody. There's USC right in the middle, but USC is not a place where you go and you get worried about from the fan base. Honestly, you're not really worried about it being a large home crowd where it's going to be crazy. Michigan can go in there and win that game, and they don't. Their conference schedule, they don't play Penn State this year. Ohio State's obviously in the year. They got Michigan State, Indiana, games they can win with the team they have this year. So I just think they're just not going to do enough to get themselves into the playoffs at the end of the year.
Yeah. I think I like your Baylor pick. I think Baylor could be kind of nice this year. I want to go back to this real quick before we go to you, Will. Don't know if y'all see what's trending right now on social media, but John Mateer has apparently been found out that he might have been sports betting while he was at Washington State. And so now people are calling for him to be suspended. Don't know how much truth there is to it. There's some screenshots going around of some Venmo transactions. And it happened in 2022, a guy who was on his offensive line. Crazy stuff. Obviously, we'll see if that becomes anything. And that would put a whole new light on Oklahoma football.
Does he have a translator? Does John Mateer have a translator?
Does he need one?
I don't know if he needs one, to be honest with you. I'm not sure.
I'm saying, does he have somebody that he could pin it on? We've seen that happen.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm sorry. We probably shouldn't have put that on the screen. Jonesy, that's Oklahoma's starting quarterback. All right, Will, you have your first four out. Tell me about these and why do you feel like these teams barely miss out? Other than obviously Auburn keeps Alabama out of the playoff there in the Iron Bowl.
Probably not. So I think Alabama and Ole Miss are going to be a step, maybe 2 steps down from what they were a year ago. Excuse me. As we know, they just missed out last year. I don't think Alabama or Ole Miss makes the SEC championship game. But I think they will be the 2 next best SEC teams that are outside the top 12, that are on the outside looking in. They're the 2 best, I think. SMU, I think SMU, another team, maybe be a step down from what they were a year ago. We talk about how magic Kevin Jennings is, but they lost a lot of key production on both sides of the ball to the NFL mostly. Their schedule, outside of traveling to Clemson, hosting Miami, hosting Louisville, that it should be pretty straightforward. But I think 9 wins and not making it to Charlotte will not get you in the playoff in the ACC. And Texas Tech, we've talked about how weird the Big 12 is. I think Texas Tech will probably be the Big 12 loser, Big 12 title game loser. And just because the Big 12 is crazy, the Big 12 is going to eat itself alive. The resumes are not going to pop off the page, which is what you want them to do.
Yeah.
Is why Texas Tech will be part of that first 4 out.
I like it. Some variety to all of ours, and some teams. And I think this is what we kind of, Ralph, the first question I had to you on the show tonight was, those are also still really good, solid football teams that are going to be missing the playoff, and it's going to create more conversation for why there should be 16 spots. I don't agree.
Well, I just got to say one thing about that.
Yeah.
There's always going to be teams that complain about not
yeah.
making it. You can add 70 teams. Whoever 71 is going to complain. Doesn't matter.
No, I hear you. It's
looking at yours, Ralph. Baylor. Did I say it on the show last week? Maybe the week before about Baylor's schedule. If they beat Auburn, that's going to be a jewel on their resume. And their schedule really.
Alabama.
I think Baylor may have one of the easiest paths to the Big 12 title game.
At SMU week 2, and then they play.
That's out of conference,
right? And then they got.
But
I was just saying, it goes Sanford, and you got Arizona State, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. That's their toughest stretch, technically.
I think SMU beats Baylor. But again, you look at just say Baylor goes, I don't know, 10-2 or 10-3. They go 9-3 and win the Big 12 title, which would get them in.
Right.
But say they go 10-2 and maybe one conference loss in the Big 12 is not going to keep you out of the Big 12 title game. That's kind of how their schedule is.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, Auburn would be a good jewel for them just because they have a win over an SEC team. They beat SMU and go to the Big 12 title game, they're probably in the playoff. Even if they are 10-2, so they'd be 11-2. Well, I'm trying to think of this as if they lose the Big 12 title game, and if the Big 12 is going to be a 2-bid league.
I said it yesterday or last week. It's a possibility there could be a 3-team for them.
You'd have to have like an 11-1 team though.
That's what I broke it down last week. It was like, I think I had it as Baylor, Iowa State, and I think Kansas State was my third one. And it was Iowa State, Kansas State played each other week 1. I can't remember how I broke it down last week, but it was something like that. But it's a harder one to predict because the Big 12 is just such a big toss up, really. Because we think Baylor's like the favorite, and then there's Texas Tech. Like I said last week, it's the only conference that has the most teams with a low favorable amount to win the conference championship this year.
I just think the Big 12 is going to eat itself alive.
It will.
And I think it'll be a one-bid league. It'll be the champion.
Could happen. First 4 out. We'll talk about our playoff here in just a second. Right after this. Isn't that right, Ralph? Are they going to be in the playoff? We'll have to see.
Your soap is ugh, and your body wash is a synthetic detergent. But you're not a dish. You're a man. Switch to Dr. Squatch Natural Soap for Men. For men who build things. Open pickle jars on the first try. Slay dragons. And let their daughters braid their hair. Men who like to feel good and smell. Titillating. Dr. Squatch takes you places you never thought you'd go. Naked.
All right, back here in the crowded booth as we talk about our playoffs. Now, we've talked about a reaction to the AP poll. We have talked about the first 4 teams out for all of us. Tonight and now, for the next 24 minutes or so, we're going to kind of dive into our playoff teams. Who is going to be in that top 12? Look, your guess, if you're watching the show, is as good as ours in terms of that. It's points that we might believe in more than you. So without further ado, I'll go first. Let me go first. So, Gavin, go ahead and put up my first one here. Here is my preseason college football playoff bracket. And, I'm sitting here with my top 4 seeds. Now, here's the big thing we got to remember, right, folks? The idea that the top 4 seeds have to be the top 4 champions is no longer a thing. You're no longer guaranteed a bye if you win the conference title. So that is a big change here in 2025, which is why I have Texas as my number 1. If you remember last week, I picked Texas to win the SEC. I had Clemson number 2. I think Clemson's going to be really good this year and win the ACC. My Big Ten champion is Ohio State, and I think Penn State is going to lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten title game by a very slim margin for the second time on the year. I really kind of like. I think this is maybe the year that Penn State could really do some things. So I like Penn State at that number 4 spot. The 5 seed, as you can see, is Notre Dame. Guys, I was looking at that schedule. Like, you can't hate on Notre Dame for not scheduling anybody anymore. Like, they play a couple of SEC teams, a couple of ACC teams. They're going to play.
They're playing Arkansas.
They're playing Texas A&M, though. They're hosting A&M. They're going to Arkansas.
They're going to Miami.
Going to Miami. Do they go to USC this year, or do they host USC?
I think that.
Here's a hot take. They beat both SEC teams on their schedule by 14 or more points.
I don't think that's hot. I think they can. If they played A&M in College Station again, I think A&M gets them. But playing up there in South Bend, we'll see.
Played Boise State, USC at home, Navy at home, at Pitt, and Syracuse at home. Yeah.
I like Notre Dame 5 seed.
You talking about Kyle Field? You mean Jordan Hare West?
Doesn't it the road team typically wins that game?
Typically, yes.
Typically, the past couple years,
except last year. It
last
was for the
year,
first 4 or 5 seasons that it was.
For the first, I think it was like 6 years. Texas A&M was in the SEC. The road team won. Okay, we can keep going.
Anyways,
I'll get off my Auburn soapbox.
No, you're fine. I'm answering this real quick.
I love to get in here and make it about me. That's what I like to do.
I like it.
Just wait till we have Will's show on Wednesday.
Yeah. All right, so I've got Notre Dame as the 5 seed. I think that they're going to be a solid team. My 6 seed, as you can see, is Alabama, who I have. They just named Ty Simpson the quarterback. We're going to talk about that later on in the week. We'll see what that looks like. I think he can be good this year. I don't know. I just think it might fit the system better. We'll see. I kind of like what they're about. Alabama's the 6 seed. LSU is the 7 seed. That LSU SMU matchup is going to be a lot of fun. Texas Tech is the 11 seed playing Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Oregon heading to Athens for a playoff game would be really kind of cool. And then, look, they were not my Group of 5 representative earlier in the summer. The addition of Jake Retzlaff for Tulane, I think, pushes them back into, I feel really good about this team. I think John Summerall, we've talked a lot about this, is one of the top G5 coaches in the country. You can make a case that he might be a top 15, top 20 coach in the country if you really wanted to extrapolate some data. I mean, like, he's a really good football coach. And I think this is the year Tulane makes the playoff. Unfortunately, might be the last year that John Sumrall is down there in New Orleans, in uptown New Orleans. So we'll see. There you go, Will. Notre Dame Tulane could be a fun matchup in South Bend. And then obviously you kind of see how I have it shaken out. I think Georgia beats Oregon at home. I think LSU takes care of SMU at home. Shout out, Mom. I won't be home during Christmas. LSU Clemson for the second time. I think LSU beats Clemson this time. And my reasoning is I think Clemson wins week 1 against LSU. Like, I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. And I really like the way LSU's looked as I've seen them in person during fall camp. I think Clemson brings back what is probably the most returning production in the country in terms of offense and defense. And then the aspect of their experience together immediately, I think, and they play this at home, is going to give them the win. But I think LSU Clemson, I like the Tigers in this one. And then my national championship is a rematch of week 1, which Ralph can attest. I didn't love doing that, but I think Ohio State's got some good talent. They did indeed do that. So I've got Texas winning the national title. I think, and I'll say this, it doesn't mean it'll happen. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but a lot of times it can be a good idea to base your projections off of. I think Texas has the most talented roster in the country. I don't think that Arch Manning has to be Superman to win with this team, but I really do like Texas. So I got Texas winning the national championship. That's my preseason bracket, college football playoff bracket. Any questions from the peanut gallery?
I mean, most of my questions came earlier today. You know, we talked about, you know, moving some stuff around, and you know, I'd said this though. This would be some of the most fun matchups to watch for that first round. I mean, obviously Tulane Notre Dame be a good one. Georgia Oregon it has to be the night game because I'm not watching that being a 12 o'clock kickoff on a Friday. LSU and SMU be a fun one. Baton Rouge, I know you'd enjoy that one. And Texas Tech Alabama is an interesting matchup. I feel like it'd be a blowout, but it could be fun to watch. Obviously the rematches, Georgia Texas, obviously Clemson LSU, you know, and then Alabama Ohio State, and then the quarterfinal matchup be a fun one too. But I don't, like I said, I had nothing wrong with this. It's, you know, I'm close.
Intriguing matchups. They're
fun. They are exciting.
Yeah.
And Joe says, Beverly, the Penn State Notre Dame rematch from last year is always be a fun one.
Yeah. Will, any comments, questions? I don't want you to spoil yours, but just anything you had.
There's too much red on this screen. Alabama Ohio State is like one of my nightmares. Nightmare matchup. I hate it.
I can still see Zeke Elliott in 2015 running around the corner and outrunning the entire.
I did like that game,
81
even though it was Urban Meyer. I did enjoy that game.
Yeah, yeah. I think my favorite matchup, opening round matchup, is Georgia Oregon.
No, 100%.
I think Oregon, and I know it's an 8-9 game, so typically that's your typical.
Lanning coming back to Athens.
All the storylines.
Mine is mine for yours be LSU hosting SMU,
which will happen in like 4 or 5 years. But Kevin Jennings coming down to Death Valley be a lot of fun, and our boy Nash should be awesome. All right, we'll go Will's next. We'll round out with Ralph's because y'all both have the. Never mind, you don't. All right, throw up Will's. Here's Will's preseason college football playoff bracket. Will, take us. You don't have to go through a whole dissertation, but just kind of take us through some of the thought process, especially that 12 seed.
Yeah, well, obviously, as you can see, Clemson, the 1 seed, my champion. I think that they're the best team in the country. I mean, I think with Cade Klubnik coming back, they're going to be good offensively. They'll at least be. They're not going to shoot themselves in the foot offensively. And I think they've got the best front seven in the country, led by Peter Woods in the middle there, that defensive line. And when you've got an elite front seven, it makes your secondary look a lot better too, which they've got no slouches in the secondary either. Ohio State, my 2 seed, the Big Ten champ. LSU, the 3 seed, SEC champ. Like I said last week, Oregon, 4 seed, Big Ten runner-up.
Okay.
I'll start with that 9 seed, Iowa State. I think Iowa State is, in my opinion, the best coached team in the Big 12. Really, really like Matt Campbell. We talk about how the Big 12 is chaos. You just want to not be chaotic and hurt yourself, which they've found ways to do in recent years. But I just have more trust in Matt Campbell and Iowa State, really than anybody else at the top of the Big 12 right now. Although I do really love Kenny Dillingham in Arizona State, but I'm going to go Iowa State this year. Miami at 11, ACC runner-up. Pretty simple there. I've got a Red River rivalry rematch in round one.
Do you play that game in the Cotton Bowl?
No, you play it on campus.
Okay, just making sure.
The Cotton Bowl will have its own strange things going on that weekend anyway. Although this John Mateer stuff, although I've seen Maxwell saying it's not true, can't be true unless John Mateer is just dumb.
Yeah.
Could kind of derail my predictions for everything because I have Oklahoma losing as the SEC runner-up, losing in the SEC title game to LSU. And we'll go to the 12th seed UNLV. I really, first of all, I really like Dan Mullen. He's easy to laugh at, easy to make fun of. Said a lot of wacky, goofy things that a head coach shouldn't say during his time at Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the G5 level, you need a guy with that kind of pedigree if you want to be the G5 representative. And I think that they have a roster that's good enough to win the Mountain West Conference. They do have to go on the road to Boise State week 4, I believe it is. It's early in the year. They also host UCLA week 2. So they can get a big resume win there. You look at the transfers they brought in. A lot of Power 5 talent brought in the transfer portal. JoJo Earl, wide receiver, first at Alabama, most recently at TCU. Anthony Calandria, quarterback from Virginia.
Good athlete.
I know he's from Virginia, but I mean, this is a guy that was good enough to get a scholarship at the Power 5 level. Another G5 guy, Amaris Williams, a cornerback from South Florida. I know this guy because I used South Florida in a dynasty in College Football 25 last year. Really, he's a good player. Now, I put in the chat that this guy is making me question my pick of putting UNLV in the playoff.
Okay.
Coy Moore has resurfaced at UNLV. He is somehow still playing college football.
Where did he play college football at, Will, beforehand?
Western Kentucky.
LSU.
And Auburn and LSU.
Yeah.
Famously threw an interception for playing wide receiver for Auburn in the Auburn LSU game.
To Harold Perkins, I believe. Yeah.
Believe so. Some more Power 5 talent or Power 4 talent. Deshaun Reynolds from Pitt, Jaheim Joseph from West Virginia, Kayvon Lee from Mississippi State, and another quarterback from Michigan, Alex Orji. So I think the talent's there for UNLV. I think, a steady, experienced, successful coach from his time in the SEC, Dan Mullen, knows what it takes, and he can kind of guide this ship for UNLV and get them that 12th seed, win the Mountain West, and get that 12th seed.
I don't have any big question marks on this, honestly. Oklahoma would be the biggest one. I mean, I talked about them, the AP top 25 for me. We obviously have Notre Dame at the same spot. We have Georgia at the same spot. I don't disagree with that. Clemson's probably, if not one of the most talented teams in the country. I had kind of Clemson and Texas in that tier. The Big 12, I think it's throw a dart at like 4 or 5 teams, and that's going to be your Big 12 representative. Ralph, I don't remember yours, and I don't know if you have this. You know what? We'll ask after the fact. So let's go ahead and move to Ralph's real quick so we can, for time's sake, and then we will go into a couple questions. So, Ralph, obviously you got the same national champion. Like I said, you don't have to go into a whole dissertation on this, but just kind of maybe some of the teams that are intriguing that are in this playoff.
Yeah, I mean, the big one, obviously, Texas Tech is at 9. I have them winning the Big 12. I really like Texas Tech. I liked them last year. I backed it up this year again. I have Alabama winning the SEC. That was said a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Clemson winning the ACC. SMU being the team they play in the ACC championship game. They slip in with another close loss to Clemson again like last year. Bryce, I'm with you on the Tulane. I'm a big Summerall guy. Obviously, he coached Troy for 2 years. Even though it pains me to see him do really well there.
Put Ralph's banner up, Gavin.
Yeah. Put the Troy banner up, please. I just put it right here. Boom. But I got the matchups I have. I felt like just a lot different. LSU at Texas week that first round. That is a dirty matchup to me. I think that'd be a fun one to watch. I think LSU goes to Austin and wins that game. I think there's a veteran defense with some really talented younger guys, as in DJ Pickett, Bryce, a 6'3", almost 200-pound defensive back, which is
6'5".
Sorry, 6'5", 200-pound defensive back, which is crazy.
Yep. Creating his own archetype at cornerback.
Yeah. I think that's just that'd be a fun one to watch. And then you get LSU Bama week in that second round, which is just be a rematch, and always a bitter rivalry between those two. And you play on a neutral site, it's even more fun to be watching. It'd be this second time since 2011 maybe when they played each other in the national championship game. I think that's right.
Wait, maybe. The last time they played in a playoff?
A neutral site game. I guess a neutral site.
Oh yeah, that'd have been the 2011 national title.
Right. Notre Dame Clemson be a fun one to watch too. But I got Clemson winning it all. I like Clemson. I'm a big Cade Klubnik guy. I was last year.
In fairness, you've been a big Cade Klubnik guy since he got on campus.
Yeah.
Since he was in high school.
Yeah.
I watched him beat Quinn Ewers in the state championship game on TV as a junior. But yeah, and I have there's a few things I have questions marks, and then I talked to Bryce and Gavin about it earlier, Will, and I kind of talked about it earlier about quarterbacks and being young quarterbacks. I have a huge question about Ohio State. And I have them at 1. I have them winning the conference. But are we really saying that Ohio State's the best team with a true I mean, it'd be a sophomore quarterback, but a quarterback that doesn't have very much playing time, with a running back that got very, very minimum snaps last year? You have Jeremiah Smith, obviously, but if teams, learned anything off him last year, they're gonna have to double team him more, and make Carnell Tate be the number one guy. You're talking about an offensive line that lost some guys last year, also, and a defense that lost a lot of talent. It's kind of something I asked him earlier. Are we really pushing them so far ahead of everybody else? I'm doing it too. I'm saying this now, but are we pushing them higher than everybody else is because Julian Sayin was a 5-star quarterback and was wanted by everybody else in the country?
And no Chip Kelly.
No Chip Kelly.
No Chip Kelly.
No Jim Knowles, this year for Ohio State. They lost a lot on that front seven. So, okay, Ref, I thought more about this when we were talking about it. And, Will, you can take it where you want to go. I think we talked about the AP Top 25, but we talked about brand value, right? And I think when people see the Ohio State logo and they know what that team has been under Ryan Day, it's not that they think Sayin's going to be what C.J. Stroud necessarily was for them, or even, kind of what Will Howard provided for them, just being a good football player. I think maybe it's just giving this program the benefit of the doubt that you've recruited and developed well enough to where we just assume. And whether that's going to be right or not, right? I mean, it's kind of what we assumed with Florida State last year, but they didn't have as much longer of a track record, obviously. I hear you and I understand that. I think it's just the idea of we're just going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they've done such a good job of producing talent, especially at that quarterback position over the past 7-8 years, to where you're just kind of I think it's a big question mark, right? I mean, it's not just Ohio State. It's Texas, like you mentioned. It's a lot of programs, but it's but
I mean,
they do it year in, year out. Why would this year be any different if they have the talent around them?
Well, my main thing was, they've lost their entire backfield. You lost your quarterback, both your running backs, and you lost your leader on defense and Jack Sawyer. People say it was Caleb Downs. It's Jack Sawyer 100%. You saw the kid and how he reacted after the Michigan game. I thought it was a little too much. Either way, he was still the leader of that defense. And Caleb Downs is very talented. He has been very good his last 2 years of college, and will continue to do great in his future. But my thing about Ohio State, and the reason I'm asking about Ohio State is because a lot of these teams kept some of their backfield together. Like Penn State, obviously they bring back Drew Aller, and they bring back both their running backs from last year. Texas brings back their running back from last year, and Michigan brings in a transfer running up from Alabama, Justice Haynes. It's just, I just worry about Ohio State because you got a guy in James Peoples who really didn't play a lot last year. Now, I'm sure he played in a good bit, but you're behind Trayvon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, who are going to be two, future Pro Bowl running backs, in my opinion.
Well, Quinshon might not.
Well, yeah, you're right. Trayvon Henderson definitely will be.
Ray Rice still was.
Ray Rice didn't get in trouble till after.
Yeah, it was midway through his career. But yeah, Trayvon, either way, it's just it's my only question. It's not even like really directly at Ohio State. I just have it number one, and I kind of thought about it when I was looking through their schedule and their roster and their depth chart. It's just like, am I really putting them at number one over some of these teams that I know has better depth and with the guys who have played more, in my opinion?
Well, tell me this. So I think it's a legitimate question. I'll pose this question to both of you. See the top helmet right there. What puts you from putting LSU as the best team in the country? Because they returned the only quarterback in the country to throw for over 4,000 yards.
Offensive line. Replacing two NFL tackles. Also, I guess I got three. Sticking with the offense. Personnel usage. I think Caden Durham was head and shoulders the best running back in that room a year ago. I know he was dealing with some injuries,
broken toes,
but still felt like he didn't get nearly enough touches. And then the head coach, Brian Kelly.
Yeah,
he's a great coach. I'm not questioning his coaching ability. It's winning the big game, which he's, we talk about it all the time. If your measuring stick is winning a national championship is good, then there's like three good coaches.
Yeah.
Active head coaches. Brian Kelly is up there with the elite. He just hasn't gotten over the hump.
Yeah.
Mine would be defensive consistency. There's a lot of games last year where they looked like a true defense they should be. And then there were a lot of games where they definitely did not look like an SEC caliber defense. And I go to that big one, Bryce, is that Alabama game. The worst performance I've ever seen by an SEC caliber defense, honestly. At home, you get blown out that bad at home. You gave up 42 points at home to a running back only.
They just ran the same play the whole time.
He did not have to throw the ball to beat you. They just ran the ball the entire game. It was an embarrassing performance by LSU. And I know. That's not even the big thing for me. Like Perkins, he wasn't hurt all year, was he?
Yeah, he got hurt 4th game of the season.
Yeah, but even in that USC game, he didn't play great. But also, they finally put him in the right position. Instead of letting him float around on the entire game.
You could say personnel usage on defense too. Like that was a big problem. In terms of that.
But I can't even think about the games. I think the Oklahoma game is one of the games where I think they played great defensively. Giving up 17 points, which wasn't great, but it was better. They showed better performances in certain games. I think in Will's offense's personnel use. You look at that Florida game, just pitiful performance offensively. It's just there's games last year where LSU was just inconsistent on both sides of the ball or one side of the ball, and it proved to them to be painful for them in the long run for them.
Will, what's your biggest playoff question mark? Maybe it's in your bracket that you're like, I like it, but I'm really uneasy. Like what's something that you maybe question the legitimacy of?
I think it's a couple. Can Iowa State navigate through the Big 12 and win it? I don't think they're the most talented team, but I trust Matt Campbell, I think, more than anybody going into 2025. Can Notre Dame do it again? Say that again, Ralph.
I thought we should have gave you more time for this question. I feel like Because I kind of planned it out before we even started the show. I feel bad because we just threw it on
No,
you.
it's good. Can Notre Dame do it again? I mean, Notre Dame is really good, but they're replacing their quarterback. You know they're going to be good defensively with Marcus Freeman. You know they're going to play for Marcus Freeman. Bryce, you talked about their schedule. It's pretty tough. We can't get on them for not scheduling anybody.
Yeah.
Kind of, can they do it again? And then Oregon, I have them in the top 4. Kind of the same questions. Can they do it again? It's just so difficult. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to win a national championship. It's probably the hardest thing to do in all sports, win the national championship at the FBS level.
Yeah.
Especially with the gauntlet that you have to go through after you make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I
if you're
mean,
an SEC
yeah.
gauntlet, if you're an SEC team or
Mhm.
a Big Ten team, you get to play a gauntlet of the season, and then you're like, oh great, now I got to play
I mean,
3
you
more
can-
games.
You can say that about all the conferences.
Yeah, it's just
The
you got to
Power
win.
Four.
What, 16 games, 17 games now? If you don't get a
17.
bye,
Yeah, 17 with no bye.
yeah, it's crazy. All right, I want to get to a couple of the questions here. I'll pull them up real quick before we get out of here. Joe the Pilot says, I have a question. Let's say undefeated Texas and one-loss LSU meet in the SEC championship game. Do you think those teams would bench some starters for that game? That's just an example. Ooh, I don't think you'll ever see teams outright, like publicly, do this, especially in. I don't know. I don't think it would happen.
I have you go back to last year in some of these like bowl games where teams play these guys, their starters for the first half, maybe, and then take them out right after that. I mean, I don't.
Depends on if the game's close.
Well, yeah, no, if it's a close game at halftime, definitely keeping the guys in, but more than likely during the regular season. Yeah, I hope not. I'd be pissed if they start doing this because this would be a downfall of conference championship games. It really would be.
I don't think you'll see an SEC team do this because I think more than the other Power 4 conferences, the SEC places such a premium and teams want to win the SEC. I think I like to compare the bottom teams. I think who's going to be the worst in the SEC? Mississippi State,
Kentucky.
I think those two programs want to win the SEC more than a Minnesota or heck, even a Maryland who looks like they're going to be a disaster this year, want to win the Big Ten. Nobody's ever going to say that, but that's kind of the feeling around the programs and the fan base and the coaches. Winning the SEC is a huge, very prideful thing to do still. Even though, expanding the playoff is making it where you don't have to win it.
Yeah. It's a good question, though. Good question. All right, let's take a look at a couple of more before we get out of here. Mondays for Manus on Blackburn.
I don't know what that means.
It's interesting. Not sure. Joe the Pilot says, if Clemson wins, does it give the ACC more respect or does it only give more respect to Clemson? Just to Clemson. Yeah. Folks, the narrative is already ingrained unless like somebody well, go ahead, Will. Yeah.
It depends on what the rest of the conference does. I think, for the first time in the playoff era, which it's easy to say now that we're at 12, you go in 2025 and we think it's 5 programs we think we could see making the playoff in the ACC?
4 or 5, yeah.
4 to 5. Clemson, Miami, SMU, Georgia Tech, Louisville.
Yeah.
There's legitimate cases for all 5. Or for any of those 5, not all 5 won't make it, but any of those 5 to make it. If those 5 can live up to expectations this year, and Clemson wins it all, they win the ACC, win the national title, then yeah, certainly the respect for the whole conference has to go up.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think this conference is it. I just want people to understand, and we say this, and we just there immediately puts a label on what we talk about here. of what we think about it, but I'm trying to portray like the national perspective. And like I think one of the best ways to do it is when I walked into the LSU press box for the first time, right? And people knew where I had come from in terms of the team I'd been covering and the conference that I'd been covering mostly. And it was like, well, yeah, I mean, that's just like a JV. Like, I mean, it's Clemson and then it's a bunch of just mid of the pack Power 4 teams. It's going to, and you need to understand this. I'm not saying that's the right mentality. What I'm saying is that is the mentality and the reality, and it's the reality for the majority of the college football world. And the voters, and I mean, the AP poll is made up of writers. That's their majority of their reality. The athletic directors and presidents that sit on this college football playoff committee, I mean, it's like what we've said. Like when someone's going to go watch Wake Forest play North Carolina State, that's not going to be viewed in their mind the same as Auburn playing Vanderbilt. And those are probably two comparable teams currently in the SEC in terms of the standings in the middle of the pack to lower end. And it's just not going to be viewed. The juice is not going to be the same in terms of viewership, in terms of whether or not you want it to play a role, it does. And that's just, it is the reality. I don't love that. I wish it could be gauged on an aspect of this, and SEC referee glaucoma awareness with the username of the year. It does come down to that. And that is part of what we're talking about here. So, it is what it is. And Dr. Bob, you handed off to Singleton on the 2-point conversion play from the 1.5, and the narrative is different. We have to keep building each day. It is a daily thing. It's going to take time to build, to break it apart, I think, at least. So,
I mean, everybody in the country can easily find and watch any SEC game. As I learned, YouTube TV does not have the CW. So there's an ACC game I'm missing out on every week.
Yeah, it's going to be SMU versus Baylor this year, too.
Thank you, Clayton. You were telling me nothing that I don't already know.
I love the attempts at a troll Will about Auburn, and y'all don't realize it. He believes it. Like he really thinks these things.
I think Clayton had a comment earlier. I think I started. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Or somebody had one. I think it was Auburn. Someone said Auburn versus Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tart Bowl. Auburn's got to make a bowl game first.
Yeah.
It's hard to do these days.
It is. It is. Well, hey, we appreciate everyone tuning in. Well, let's talk about one more thing. Okay, one more thing, just real quick. Counterpoint, the Big Ten has more money than the SEC, and the balance of power has shifted. Look who is winning the national titles in the 12-team era. Still a small sample size for me, since we've only had one of these, right?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. At least Maxwell acknowledges the truth. Will's the most down on Auburn of any Auburn fan I know. Yeah, Will is not drinking the Kool-Aid at all for anything. All right, real quick, let's talk about
into that on Wednesday.
We will. John Mateer, this is the Venmo transaction list to Richard Roden.
This is wild. This is wild.
If this is true, what happens? Like what?
Well, we've got to figure out like what exactly does this mean? Is this like he and Richard Roden character? They just made a bet. Like I'm texting the two of y'all. $20 says whatever. $20 says Oklahoma or LSU beats Clemson. Or is he like on an illegal, or was he on an illegal sports book?
Well, he played in one game that year. It was against Stanford and threw 2 passes.
Was it this game that does not have the teams listed on it?
Go look at when that game was.
November 5th.
So probably not.
At Stanford, that was the only game.
Well, this is first off why you make your Venmo transactions private. Second,
or put something besides sports gambling on it.
We know people who do that. I don't know. I don't know if you can retroactively suspend somebody. Like, I don't know what good that would do. I'll just go ahead and
NFL does it all the time.
Well, they do whatever they want. And they also it's also, hey, this suspension is essentially sponsored by FanDuel. I mean, honest to God, it's ridiculous. That's a whole other show.
That cannot be enough proof. There is so much AI editing these days. Like,
definitely. Is this fake? I mean, what? I mean,
you would have to get into his financials, which they don't have access to.
Yeah, but if you open an investigation, you could subpoena that. I've watched enough Suits to know what to do.
There's no shot they do all that just to for all these 2 pictures.
Yeah, I feel like this is a lot of social media stuff. I really wonder. I mean, I'm going to head over to the Oklahoma On 3 message board after this show to see what they're talking about. But
they're probably melting down because I think I would fit in on Oklahoma message board these days. Seems like that they're not too excited.
No,
well, Andrew said earlier he thinks that all of them are thinking they're going to win the national title. Now, here's another clip. John Mateer, 7 friends, no transactions yet. Now, Gavin just put this up here.
Gavin, did you screen that shot yourself?
Did you screenshot this, Gavin? I don't know. He did not.
No, he did not. Okay.
So this is apparently being put out there on the etherwebs.
Oh, man.
It's interesting, man. I don't think you can retroactively suspend somebody for – I don't know how you would do that. And do you have enough time to open a full-scale investigation? Here's where it would get crazy. This is completely hypothetical. It would get totally crazy if they open the investigation and then Oklahoma has to make a decision. Do they want to play John Mateer in the early games of the season at risk of those games being forfeited if he's deemed ineligible? That would be absolutely nuts to me. So
the precedent has been set. Cam Newton 2010.
Gavin said the guy that leaked that just quoted it. It was like is it a Deadspin reporter? Okay, it's a Deadspin reporter.
Deadspin? All right. That probably tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I guess
no one's dumb enough to put sports gambling as the reason.
I mean, he probably created the account and then AI'd it to 2022. All right, before we get out of here, a couple things. We are going to be live again tomorrow night. We got to figure out the show schedule, what we're going to be doing. We're going to have a Georgia Tech show this week. We're going to talk a little bit Auburn. We're going to be live again on Thursday evening, back again. There will be a show change. If you're watching just the college football shows, they will be every single Monday and Thursday evenings, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. We're going to release a full schedule. Gavin, it just makes all the graphics now. We're going to kind of release what our weekly content schedule will be so you know where to find us. But if you don't want to worry about all that, just subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and then, just hit that little notifications bell right there below you. And you can find that there as well. Also, we're going to be releasing some games that we're going to be going to this year. It's going to be more than one. We've got a big marquee game on the matchup. I'll tell you this, to tease it a little bit, we've talked about it. Thanksgiving weekend, rivalry weekend, is going to be a very big weekend for the Crowded Booth. It's going to be a lot of fun. A little doubleheader action is going to be really cool there as well. We've got a big game in October. Big game in is it October we're going? I guess no, technically November right? 1st. November. Well, we just spoiled it. But yeah, technically November. And then we're also going to be going September there as well. So it'll be interesting, be a lot of fun. So we'll talk to you. We appreciate you, and we can't wait to talk to you again whenever we go live. Got to make this show schedule, and we'll catch you once again here on the Crowded Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.